What kind of experiments are they making on each of us right now? Moreover, what might be the final move of the puppet masters? Then the next stage of the experiment will take place in the Czech Republic. The states are using a pandemic to adopt repressive measures for reasons unrelated to the epidemic, and they will tell you what job you have to do and how much you should get for it. Glad to welcome you to the Coin Post channel. On April 21st, 2020, Pavel Durov, the founder of such social networks as Vkontakte and Telegram, posted on his channel about the pandemic, stating that the world is never gonna be the same again. Durov's message was the starting point for this video. What is happening in the world? The unbiased look may give you a picture of a global social experiment, or even a series of such experiments in various fields. Medicine, finance, human rights, and so on. What kind of experiments are they making on each of us right now? Moreover, what might be the final move of the puppet masters? This is what this video will be about. Since I'll have to mention the Chinese Black Swan to explain all the events, I run the risk of being demonetized for this video, which might limit its viewership. At the same time, I officially declare that I'm not violating any YouTube rules. I would love to share these thoughts with you and get a broader audience, so I would appreciate your help in getting as many likes as possible. I know that you're the best community, and I hope you will respond and easily cope with this task. It's time to bring everyone to light. Let's start. We were not prepared. Or rather, we didn't know what to prepare for. Here's the explanation of the government officials about the epidemic in Europe and the United States. They blame China, saying their statistics with the numbers of infected persons were deliberately underestimated. That is why other countries didn't pay attention to the problem that was approaching them. So I keep asking myself, where did the all-seeing American intelligence look? In the past, they were the first to report some incredible information through official US channels, and every time it would be confirmed later. Looking at such events like coronavirus pandemic, one may say that Uncle Sam knows everything. So is it possible that their system failed in China? It's logical to assume that even if China deceived the whole world, it was nearly impossible to conceal the facts from the agents of the special services, as so many people in China were locked down and were a part of the efforts to minimize the virus spread. It's just my guess, but it seems that Donald Trump had all the intelligence reports on the table with real figures for China, as well as calculations of how much the US would lose after a full lockdown of the whole country. And then, option 1, money was the first and the most important reason. We'll talk about it in the final part of the video. Another option, it's something more. For example, an experiment on our health and civil rights. Let us start by discussing health issues. Is it just me, or adopting completely different measures to stop the virus in different countries makes no sense? Supposing that you don't believe in statistics from China. Nevertheless, no one has such claims against South Korea, and they have coped with the problem possibly with the best result among all the countries around the world. Instead, each state makes its own decisions and declares the lockdown at different times. Some may tell they are doing this on purpose to manage to pass the baton to the neighbors. At the same time, completely different restrictions were accepted, or the existence of a problem was totally denied. My greetings to the Belarusian leader Mr. Lukashenko. All this makes one wonder, is it possible that politicians got a deal, divided the world into sectors and decided where and which measures should be taken, just to see the result? If my fears are valid, then the next stage of the experiment will take place in the Czech Republic. On April 24th, the country opened its borders to enter and to exit. Also, they allow their citizens to gather in groups of up to 10 people. Moreover, from April 27th, the Czech Republic resumes the lectures at universities, as well as shops and gyms will be opened. What is the possible essence of this experiment? To assess the threat of a second wave of infection after quarantine has been lifted. This data will be plenty useful for decision makers. However, if for the majority of the world it will be only statistics, then others will have to pay the highest price for these figures. I really hope that the problem is gonna disappear like a bad dream. But in the meantime, I'd like to ask everyone to take care of their health and the health of your loved ones. Next, let us discuss the issue of human rights. To avoid the impression that the problem is far-fetched, I'd like to cite a statement by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who believes that the states are using a pandemic to adopt repressive measures for reasons unrelated to the epidemic. Let me remind you all the conspiracy theories that named the UN one more tool for achieving world domination. If you look at different countries, in Russia they provided digital passes, in China drones patrolled the streets, in India people were beaten with sticks, but in the United States President Trump simply asked Americans to wrap their face with a scarf. Moreover, it was not even obligatory. I don't think that in the US they have a lack of computers to provide digital passes, a lack of drones, or not enough police officers with sticks. The government is just making the steps its people are ready to endure. Now, every elected or appointed top official has a unique opportunity to check whether it's possible to turn their country into one big City 17 from Half-Life, pretending to combat the virus, deciding whether to leave these people just some rights and freedoms. At the same time, the paradigm shift in people's consciousness takes place. For the past 10 years, there has been a trend towards globalization. Well, everyone got a passport with the citizenship indicated there, but you could easily travel between cities and countries as long as you had enough money. Now it was played on heavy rotation. Distance yourself from everything and everywhere. On the one hand, wearing protective masks and not shaking hands anymore seems logical to prevent the illness. However, those who are still going to their offices may notice that with these new rules, the relations in the team are not longer the same. You subconsciously try to keep the distance, limit communications, and strive to be home as soon as possible. To tell the truth, there are no antivirus filters on your ventilation at home. However, your four walls give you the illusion of security. How many families are now divided? Next time, if you consider visiting another city or country for business or as a tourist, you will wonder if you still need it. What if tomorrow the new limitations will not allow you to return to your home country? Having voiced all this, I want to support those analysts who predict that after the quarantine is over, we will not see the full restoration of passenger traffic at airports. Cafes or restaurants will not be overbooked on Friday nights. Not only because in the meantime, we're also gonna end up with no money, losing jobs or businesses, but because people are afraid of themselves, and at a subconscious level, the new mind program sounds like this: stay at home more and minimize any communication with others. So we discussed how they are conducting an experiment on our health right now, how they are trying to get into our heads by imposing a new picture of the world's perception. Then we're gonna talk about money, as you can get nowhere in this world without money. But first, I'd like to remind you that it's vital to share this video, and you can also help with your like, comment, and I'd really appreciate a repost. Please, share this video with your friends, relatives, colleagues, and like-minded people. Recently, due to the unprecedented situation, we've been talking a lot about the financial crisis. I've already noted, and not for once, that events are developing in an extremely rapid manner now. The best proof of this is the S&P 500 index chart. Now, it should be pulled up to the blue line, where the 50-week moving average is. From there, the price will go down, looking for a new bottom. It's exactly what happened during the previous two financial crises. But we'll turn to this in our next videos. We also have never seen negative oil prices before. Let them tell you on TV that these are just speculations in the futures market. In fact, there is nothing new with these speculations, but negative oil prices have appeared just now. The real reason is that all the storage facilities are 100% filled. In addition, there are not enough buyers on the market. Every day, tens of millions of barrels of oil are produced, but there is nowhere to store them, no one to sell. You cannot stop production, and it's impossible to pump the oil back underground. Rumor has it that there are plans for the urgent construction of open oil storages. They look like a city reservoir, but filled with black liquid, and it's better not to make a barbecue on its shore. Besides, we have never seen such a large-scale and coherent injection of liquidity into markets by the central banks. It looks like a financial experiment that is taking place right now, intending to understand whether the printing press can solve all the problems of the global economy as a whole and the oil industry in particular. Apparently, it's about time to scale back oil production. Shutting down this sector and firing all the employees is an option, but instead people will be provided with financial aid. The money to send these paychecks will just be printed. The same way may be chosen for other industries, taking the real power from those who own assets and giving it to those who manage the printing machine. And then welcome to socialism, when market relations are cancelled and they will tell you what job you have to do and how much you should get for it. Nobody should make a sound or a single move, so they need to return the property to the state, as there is nothing easier than buying bankrupt companies with an endless stream of money that they created themselves. To be honest, before getting to such a situation, it's better to give the financial crisis plenty of fun, and then restore the economy from zero. However, the return scenario to socialism is quite possible, taking into consideration all the discussions that the Jamaican monetary system should be changed, which took place at G20 meetings during the 2008 crisis. Let me remind you that the Jamaican currency system was adopted in 1978 as an improved version of the Bretton Woods system. At the moment, the gold standard was finally destroyed and the list of reserve currencies was expanded, as previously only the American dollar had such a status. For the past 10 years, governments have been hatched for solving the problem of tens of trillions of state debt. I dare to suggest that now is the time they will try to start implementing this plan, while all of us will stay at home being anxious about the possible loss of our jobs. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching the Coin Post channel. Subscribe and get enlightened.